Welcome back. Now, the South African Red Cross Society, the SARCS, has been expanding the scope of their assistance as humanitarian needs continue on account of the devastating floods in KwaZulu-Natal that occurred about 3 months ago. The devastating floods, amongst others, destroyed infrastructure, claimed the lives of many and left many others homeless and in need of humanitarian aid. The KwaZulu-Natal Provincial Humanitarian Branch Agency, the Red Cross Society, hit the ground from the onset, providing a multitude of supportive services to the affected communities. For an update about the situation on the ground and the rollout of support services, the manager of the South African Red Cross KwaZulu-Natal Provincial, Siyabonga Shlachwayo, now joins us via Zoom. Good morning, Siyabonga, and welcome to Good Morning Namibia.
Good morning to you and the viewers at home, and thank you for having us.
Talk to us about where we are at 3 months down the line.
Yes, the situation is still quite devastating, as we are all aware of that. The floods that were experienced were the floods that have never been seen in quite a long time, as well as their damage. So the damage and the need in the communities is still serious, as we are engaging the communities because we've been having phases of response since day one. But also the needs are growing, and also one should call for more support in terms of supporting the affected people with building their homes, building better homes in more formal settlements, because it's also a concern to be encouraging that people must be getting houses, or we are supporting in rebuilding while they are still residing in the informal settlements, which we know that they are more vulnerable and exposed to the disasters.
Now, we want to talk about rebuilding on the one hand, but perhaps the greater recovery. How is that recovery going?
The recovery is going. Government has been trying hard. The private sector, other organizations, us also as the Red Cross Society, we've been contributing as it is. There are about 102 shelters where the displaced people are residing, and Red Cross is actually supporting 36 out of that 102. We're providing them with food every week. We're providing them with supplying water, we're providing them with essentials, psychosocial support, as well as restoration of family links. So these are the services that we've been continuously providing to, we've even installed child-friendly centers in some shelters to ensure that children at least are comfortable and they are finding it homey. Distributed even school uniforms. But as it is now, the biggest disaster that we are faced with, it is poverty. So our response is working towards ensuring that now, even in the future, how do we ensure that we are addressing issues of poverty? Because the issue of informal settlement is mostly influenced by poverty. And as you are engaging communities about moving to more formal settlements, the question is, can they afford to be residing in those formal settlements? So how do we support communities in fighting poverty, in addressing poverty? Because we are witnessing a lot of things. There is intolerance, there is a bit of violence even in these communities now, because people are becoming very impatient. This is all settled around poverty when you look at it mostly.
Speaking about poverty, it certainly wasn't brought about by the floods, but I'm inferring that it was exacerbated by the floods.
Yes, indeed, because you look at the many people that were affected. These are people that are residing in the informal settlements, in those shack houses. These are people who mostly move from their homes, from their rural areas, coming for opportunities in the towns. Because of not affording the life in the towns or in the cities, then they end up residing in the informal settlements. Those informal settlements are areas that mostly are exposed to many disasters. They are in risky areas. I always notice that seasonally, we are always responding to disasters, and the people that are always affected are the people that are in the informal settlements. Right now, we are in a fire season. Most people that are affected, it's the people that are in the informal settlements. So this is all due to poverty and people trying to access businesses, access a better life in the cities, which they cannot afford. So that is why some of them were living like in the river banks. The houses were built very close to the rivers. So that is why when the rivers were swelling and there was flooding, they were quickly exposed to those floods. So these are some of the issues which we need to start addressing now because we are noticing that these kind of rains and floods, they're becoming more frequent now. So in order to minimize losing lives and infrastructure, these are the issues that we need to start addressing now.
Siyabonga, weathering these proverbial and physical storms is no small feat and requires a lot of collaboration. Talk to us about the cooperation, the collaboration with both government agencies, but also the aid that you received from the private sector.
Yes, the support has been quite great, and we continue to advocate for it. Under disaster management, we are currently operating under a Sendai framework, which was adopted in 2015 to 2030. It has 4 priorities, and priority number 3 says we need to invest into communities to ensure that communities are resilient to disasters. So it invites private sector, it invites government businesses to say, let us invest into communities to ensure that they are resilient to disasters. So we have fortunately witnessed private sector, government, other NGOs coming in, and we were able to join hands. As I'm saying, we as the Red Cross Society are looking after 34 shelters. Those are the shelters that we have been allocated by government that we support. And the other shelters, as I said, we are having 102 shelters. The other shelters are also being taken care of by other organizations, other companies. We've received in-kind donations, we've received funds, which we are utilizing to procure the very much needed items by the people that are affected. So we can say that it was quite positive. The response was quite positive. And also we are working very hard also as a Red Cross Society to ensure that the funds, the relief items that were donated to us are directed to the beneficiaries. The beneficiaries are receiving them, and also accounting to the donors that have supported, because this is something that we are encouraging and we want to see it ongoing, because we are having a bigger task to ensure that communities are resilient to disasters. We engage communities before disasters happen, because when we engage communities when the disasters have happened, it's a matter of just responding to the disaster, but not really discussing prevention, minimizing and mitigating the impact of the disasters. So it's something that we need to do now before disasters happen.
Thank you very much, Siyabonga. As we're starting to wrap up our conversation this morning, we understand that you recently hosted an international flood response delegation. Talk to us about that very briefly.
Yes, the Qatar Red Crescent is a sister national society to the South African Red Cross Society, which I always say that the strength of the Red Cross Society is that we are an international movement and having sister national societies who are experienced and having expertise in different fields. So when one national society is responding to a disaster of this magnitude, the International Federation of the Red Cross Society then would delegate and mobilize resources as well as support from other national societies. So you'd see other national societies coming in to support us. It was quite a great experience. Qatar Red Crescent is resourceful and very well experienced, and they came with their expertise. We worked very well, not only providing resources, but also mentoring and coaching our teams that are on the ground, that we're working with on the ground, and sharing experiences, so that in the near future, we are also more and better established to responding to disasters, but also having other national societies coming in to support. That also gave us more of a positive feeling to know that we are not alone. We are having other sister national societies that are coming in. So it was quite a positive impact. That had a positive impact, and we worked very well with them. We are still looking forward to even hosting them at a time where there is not a disaster like this one, where we can engage and share experiences, share expertise, and all of that. Even maybe someday having our team also going to their country to see and learn, and also see where we can also contribute into them being a international society. Because
Siyabonga, thank you
we are
very much
also
for your
getting
time.
more.
Thank you so much for your time, and thank you for the great work that you and the team continue to do there in KwaZulu-Natal. That was KwaZulu-Natal Provincial Branch Manager Siyabonga Hlatshwayo. He's attached to the Red Cross Society, of course, bringing us up to speed at what the situation is like 3 months down the line following the devastating floods in KwaZulu-Natal in neighboring South Africa. We will be right back after a brief break.